Hey everyone, it is Saturday, February 26th. The time right now is 3:35 p.m. and the temperature is around minus 2 degrees Celsius. And I'm here in midtown Toronto, and this is Redpath Avenue. And just to the south of here is Eglinton Avenue East. And there's a look to the north. And I got a request from a channel member to do a walk that heads over to the Russian Consulate. And that is actually located quite a bit south of here, down at St Clair Avenue East. So I thought what I would do is incorporate some other consulates into the walk. So I'll be heading west along Eglinton here, and we'll walk past a couple of consulates, and then I'll hop on a bus, as the subway is currently not running this weekend between Finch and St. Clair. And I'll head south down to St. Clair Avenue East, and we'll check out the Russian Consulate, and then I'll walk past a few more while I'm down there. So this here is St. Clair, or Eglinton Avenue East. And it looks like there's a new tavern moving in, the Harp. So Toronto has, I think, 106 consulates in total, as well as two what they refer to as trade offices. And I think those would be for Taiwan and Hong Kong. And the first one is in this building here, or at least the first one on this journey. Most of the ones on this walk are just in office buildings, so they're rather nondescript. It says Philippine Overseas Labor Office. But I do believe it's the official consulate of the Philippines. I think there's a little under 1 million Filipino Canadians, or Canadians of Filipino descent. And that's a country that has 109 million people. And if you're wondering why they're consulates and not embassies, that would be due to the fact that Toronto is not the capital of Canada. That is actually Ottawa. And I think Ottawa has something around 127 embassies. So there's a few countries represented there that aren't in Toronto. But Toronto being the much larger, I guess more important financial wise of the two cities, in addition to immigration and tourism. So it really makes sense for most countries to set up shop here. And I think the next one coming up has a location in Toronto, but not in Ottawa. And that is for the small island nation of Grenada. And it's located in this building. I tried to track that information down online, and I couldn't find an Ottawa location. And I think Grenada has a population just over 100,000 people. And they don't even have a sign. But according to Google Maps anyways, at least it's at 90 Eglinton Avenue East. All right, let's cross over to the south side here. And that is it for consulates in the Yonge and Eglinton neighborhood. I couldn't really locate one definitive source that listed them all by map on the internet. So I did just what anyone else would do, and I typed consulate into Google Maps while I was on Toronto. And I already knew that the Philippine consulate was here. I was not aware that that was where the Grenada consulate is. And I did learn that people from Grenada are called Grenadians. And it looks like the Starbucks is closed down. I actually went there just about a month ago. So that's a bit surprising. And that is Yonge Street straight ahead, so I'll be getting in the queue to jump on a shuttle bus and heading down to St. Clair. And the Russian Consulate is another one that's located in an office building. So this is Yonge and Eglinton. So if I missed any consulates in this neighborhood, let me know down in the comments. So I'll also be checking out the Austrian consulate as well as St. Lucia. And a couple for South Korea. And those are all located down in the Yonge and St. Clair area. Doesn't look like there's a queue for a shuttle bus right now. That's a good sign. And that's where I need to head to board it. So like I mentioned, I'm probably going to cut that part of this video out. Not something I normally do, but this is a bit different from the normal videos that I do. is a very long light cycle. And some people just collectively decided to go for it. There's Eglinton Station. So I'm going to throw on my mask here and hopefully hop on the next bus. And I will see you down at Yonge and St Clair. Well, that took way too long. And what's interesting there is normally the buses drop you off on St Clair Avenue East. That one went right into the bus bays. So I'm not sure why it's different this weekend, but every other time I've taken that shuttle bus, they drop you off right at the front door here. This is kind of odd to see all this traffic here on St Clair Avenue East. But next up is the Russian Consulate. I can only assume this was requested because of the recent events with the invasion of the Ukraine. And it looks like there's a bit of a protest in front of it. I was not aware that this was going on. I know there's a march in support of the Ukraine, and that'll be taking place tomorrow. And I do plan on recording that. And this isn't a politically oriented channel or anything like that, but I certainly stand with the people of the Ukraine on this particular issue. So here in 60 St Clair Avenue East is the Russian Consulate. The Ukrainian consulate is located down in Etobicoke on Lakeshore Boulevard West. I'm just going to wait for the light to change here. So the Russian consulate itself is up on the 5th floor. And Russia has a population of 144 million people, many of whom do not support the current invasion. And I think there's around 622,000 Canadians of Russian descent. And what's interesting is there's 1.4 Ukrainian Canadians. 1.4 million. Sorry about that. And this is not the only consulate located in this particular location. This building also houses the consulate of St. Lucia. That's a small Caribbean island. Making a quick video for Insta. I'm just going to grab a potential thumbnail picture for this.
Stand with Ukraine! 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 Stand with Ukraine!
Well, they have my full support. It's crazy to think right now there's a major capital city in Europe right now just under siege, where they're teaching their citizens how to make Molotov cocktails, and they're being armed. And all the Ukrainian allies' hands are basically tied because I think the psychopath Putin will just press the nuke button on anyone who goes in there and physically defends Ukraine. Which is, at least that's my understanding as to why it's being dealt with through sanctions and other measures rather than direct military force. And now it's on to a few more consulates. I'm kind of glad I came by and checked that out. So what I'll do now is I'll head west and we'll go past, I think, the Korean Commerce Consulate, as well as the Austrian Consulate, and I'll finish up at the regular Korean Consulate, a place where I went to back in 2007, right before I moved to Korea. And it's my guess that it's that rally that we just saw that's the reason why the shuttle buses aren't turning left onto St. Clair here. And dropping people off in front of the station where they normally do. So not too long ago I was at Yonge and Eglinton, probably the most well-known of the Midtown Toronto intersections. And this is Yonge and St. Clair, which once upon a time was more bustling than it currently is. There used to be a movie theater here. It's still quite busy. I would definitely say it's a great place if you're looking for where in Toronto to settle down. Oh, I forgot to point out, I think it's this building here on the corner where I have it written down here. I'm going to turn the camera app off on my phone. Where the Korean Commerce Consulate is. So I think they've got it divided into two. And then coming up at 30 St. Clair Avenue West here, we're now on St. Clair Avenue West as I'm west of Yonge Street, will be the Austrian Consulate. There we go. 30 St. Clair Avenue West. I don't see any signs or markings indicating that it's in there. And Austria has a population, I think, of around 9 million people. And there's just over 200,000 Austrian Canadians. There's a press cafe. I saw a lot of those when I was in Montreal and a few in Ottawa. So now I'm just going to head west over to Yonge and St Clair, where probably the nicest consulate in the city is. At least in my opinion, although the Polish consulate on Lakeshore Boulevard West is quite nice. That's the Korean consulate. There's the head office of Rolex Canada. And if you were to go into Google Maps and type in Toronto consulates, you'd see that they're quite spread out over the city. There's a few in the downtown core, or centered around the financial district, including the Taiwan Trade Office. But most of them appear just to be located in office buildings. If you think about it, it doesn't really make sense for, at least from a real estate point of view, for every consulate to get its own dedicated building, especially in a city like this where land is worth so much. And I looked up that Canada has 112 embassies around the world and 179 consulates. And I think as an added perk as being part of the British Commonwealth, is if you're in a country that doesn't have a Canadian consulate or embassy, but they do have a British one, I think you can use that on an emergency basis. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I actually read that on my passport somewhere. So if sure, I guess there's some benefit to still keeping the Queen's face on our money. And here's a notable apartment building on the right. This is where the famous Canadian pianist Glenn Gould lived. He spent most of his life here. And after I'm done recording this walk, I'm going to head south to one of the most unique consulates, at least in terms of what I could find in the city, and I'm going to record that as a bonus video for channel members and Patreon members who have silver tier or higher status. And that is the consulate for Luxembourg. That's located just in a house in the middle of a residential neighborhood just to the south of here. And I didn't see any flag or signs or any markings to indicate that it would be there. There's probably some more like that throughout the city. There goes the 512 St. Clair streetcar. So here's the intersection of St Clair Avenue. I'm going to cut through this park here. And there's the final stop on this journey. And that is the South Korean consulate. South Korea has a population of around 51 million. Some honking action. And I lived there for 5.5 years. It's kind of in this gorgeous old property. And this is the G.H. Ferguson House. It's a designated heritage property. I remember walking right through this gate and heading through those doors, and just around the corner on the left was where I did my interview. I think it was just a formality. They do, or at least they did want to meet with you in person before they granted you a visa. And on that note, I hope you enjoyed this walk and bus ride. Well, I guess bus ride. I'm not really including that part on the video. Heading past a number of midtown Toronto consulates. And thank you to the channel member for the request to go check out the Russian Consulate. Perhaps at some point I'll head over and check out the Ukrainian one. There's a look to the south. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support the channel, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership in the description. I also have an Instagram account where you'll see a vertical video of that scene from the consulate, although there's not really any point since a better quality non-vertical version appeared in this video. But you can check that out at Johnny Strides on Instagram. All right, thank you for watching. Stay warm, stay safe, and I will catch you on the next one.